My name's Alfie Evans-Meese and I played Finn Shelby in the first series of Peaky Blinders.
So how did your love for acting start? Where did it all begin?
Well, my love for acting started when I was really young, about 9-10 years old, around that. And that was when I was performing at a school show in Purton First School. And I remember I was playing the role of Deck, and I was playing with my best friend at the time, and he was Ant. And then it was like this sort of talent show, but it was like a drama, and it was really interesting actually. It was quite funny. And I really loved it. And then Mrs. Butterworth, the teacher who pointed out to my mum, was like, he needs to go somewhere. He needs to go and, do something, because he's all right actually, and he's pretty confident at doing it. So we went to PQA. I started there, Pauline Quirk Academy, and I just remember being like mesmerised by everything. I was so interested because they did musical theatre, they did acting, and they also did like film and television. So it had like the best of three worlds actually, and it was good to do musical theatre acting, which is a lot more obviously theatrical, dancing, singing. I'm not a singer, but I took part, I tried my best. And acting was obviously like normal TV acting, and film and television was like the creation of like all the pieces and everything, which is really interesting as well. So that's kind of what started my like passion, like, oh, I'd love to become an actor, I'd love to do all this sort of stuff.
Well, so when this role came about of Finn Shelby, what was the audition process like?
It was crazy. I just remember the person in charge of PQA at the time, of our like little Wolverhampton branch, they were like, oh, they're auditioning for this, you've got the accent, do you want to go for it, they're looking for your age. And I was like, okay, yeah. So I went to it, and I had to go all the way down to London, and I remember going into the room, and it was quite a dark room, it was weird. And then I just remember they were like, right, we're going to start now, do you need a script or anything? I'm like, no, it's fine, I've learnt it. And they were like, okay, good. So then they started filming, and then I remember we took one take, and then they went out to get my mom. And at first I was like, what's going on? Have I done something wrong, And my mom came in and was like, what's the matter? And they were just like, oh my God, he needs to go on the agency straight away. And I was just like, what, really? Was it that, was that all right? And they were like, yeah, you need to, because I wasn't on the agency at the time, because I only wasn't there for, I think you're supposed to be there for a year, and I was just around a year, like just below. And they're like, he needs to be on the agency because, it's just really confident. And so I did the audition again, and my mum was in the room to watch it, and they was like, wow, and now try do this, do that, and just give me loads of direction. And they're like, wow, you're really good at, getting given directions and doing what you're told to do, really, which is, one of my skills, which I'd say, I'm quite proud of. I can do that. Remember the last one, going to the Tiger Aspect office in Leeds, and I remember going in there and seeing Cillian Murphy and the director Otto, and I was just like, wow, what is this? And we just did the scene, and that was that, really.
Oh wow. And when you finally got that life-changing call,
yeah,
what was it like? What was your reaction?
My reaction, I just remember crying actually. I just remember my mum picking it up. I didn't realise what was happening at first. We just came back from school, and she went outside the car, and I stayed in the car, and we was just on the drive. And then she came back and was like, oh, you've got the part. And I just remember crying my eyes, and I was like, this is amazing. But still, I was like chuffed. I was so happy with myself. I was like, this is amazing. This is going to be fun. But I was nervous at the same time, because I'm like, what's it going to be like? I've never been on a professional sort of set.
Well, so it's a while later, it's your first day on set. You walk through those doors and you see the cast. You've got Helen McCrory, a big star of Harry Potter. You've got Cillian Murphy, who is a big Hollywood actor. How did you feel?
I felt overwhelmed. I was just like, this is crazy. The amount of effort that goes into production is beyond me, and they all work so hard. And I just remember seeing like Helen McCrory for the first time. I just remember that crystal clear. I was in my dressing room at the time getting ready for a scene. It was an external scene in like some just random field park, and I remember like the runner coming over and was like, Helen McCrory wants to see you. And like I noticed beforehand on like the little slides that you get in the hotel, it was like Helen McCrory will be there that day, and I was like, oh my God, she was in Harry Potter. Oh my God, what happens if I see her or something? What do I say? And when he said that, I was just like, what am I going to do? I was so nervous. My mum followed me behind, and I just remember going up the stairs into her little wagon, and I just was like, it's really her. It's really Helen McCrory. And then she was like, oh, come sit on my lap, Alfie. Hello, lovely to meet you. and then she started asking like, how do you do your accent? I was like, I don't really know, it's just how I normally speak. And then she was reading out her lines in the script. She was like, how would you say this word, Alfie? How would you say that? And I just said it obviously in my normal voice. And then she was like, oh, how on earth do you do that? And I was just like, I don't know. That's how I speak. I'm like, I don't know how to tell you. That's just how I speak. And she picked up a few things here and there. The weird, wonderful Brummie accent. You know, it's a weird accent to listen to. Sometimes it's hard for people to understand, but it's easily recognisable. So this is an iconic photo right here. I remember it was freezing this day, and I remember just getting like the makeup on, and they had to give me like loads of like blisters and sores, and it was so interesting how they like actually did all the makeup, and they're all freelance artists, which is really interesting. And then we've got this one here, naughty Alfie, smoking at the age of what, 10, 11? How awful. No, it was a fake cigarette filled with like some random herbs, but that scene was cut anyway because it wasn't accepted by the BBC. And then we've got this one as well with Mr. Cillian Murphy, Tommy Shelby. Wow, I remember that was my last day filming. That was my last ever day, and I remember my mum taking it and crying. So that was fun. That was the car. Oh my God, fashionable Willys right there. This was outside the set. So in there was the living room and all like the betting shop, and it's crazy how like everything's built and on the outside it all looks like that. And there's when I had to get the haircut, and I was, you know, bullied heavily for that. They were like, your mum's just got a bowl and just went vroom round your head. And I was like, that's technically what happened, yes. This was me staying outside, well, not staying outside, being in a hotel, but staying outside because it was a nice hotel. I remember it. It was quite nice. That was in Leeds, that was. More photos of the set. Wow. We've got, that is my dressing room, and I always had my food in there. I had so much food. Mum would literally go and get so much food. We'd just sit on the table and just eat so much. And, you know, it's a lot of the time I spent in there. Like before, I remember I spent 6 hours because they had a delay while filming. I just remember sitting there 6 hours just doing nothing, and it was great actually. It was really good. And this was also on the outdoor scene. This was, I think, also in Leeds, like in some moorlands, and there was like cow poo everywhere, and everyone got stuck and fell over, and it was really funny. But there was me pretending to take a photo of Cillian. It's quite exciting actually. And there's another one on the settee, being like, this is what I do for 6 hours, sit there. It's quite nice actually, but...
So there was obviously so many brilliant actors in that cast.
Yes.
Did you all have any weird, crazy experiences that you had together?
Well, they were all lovely. All of them were so caring and kind, and it's just like, because obviously they're human at the end of the day. They're like everyone else in the world, but obviously we see them as like massive superstars. And weird experiences. I remember being on the train on the way back from Manchester, and we all sat together in like... it was like twos, and me and my dad sat next to each other, and then there was a 4 table, and there was obviously just other passengers there. And I remember going to the toilet, but the toilet in our coach was like blocked and it didn't work. So I went to the one in first class, and then I saw Cillian. I was like, oh, hello Cillian, hello. He was reading or something, and we was just like, oh, we're just in the next carriage. And then he came, like, was like, oh, I'll come with you and say hello to everyone. And then I sat next to Sophie Rundle, and that was just like, hello, wow, she's just amazing. And she was showing me like her inspiration as an actress. She like had loads of inspirational like photos and moods to get into the scene. I just remember her on her iPad, and she was like, oh, this is how I need to feel for this scene. I was just like, wow, that's like really good. She's getting into character. And I remember these random passengers sitting next to Cillian Murphy on this table, and they were like, oh my God, it's Cillian. They're all taking photos and everything. And they're all obviously going to London because they all live in London, and then I got off at Wolverhampton. But that was a weird experience. And going to the pub together as well at the train station. This was in Leeds. I think our train was like delayed. So we went to the pub, and I remember Cillian, he brought me a hot chocolate. I was like, oh, thank you. Then he gave me some wasabi peas to go down with my hot chocolate, and I was like, wow, they were like really spicy. And then I remember I had some Percy pigs as well, but we was just all there together, and it just like, it was wholesome, and it was so nice after you've spent all day on set and you're tired, and then you're just all there together just to have a good laugh and be like not in your character and to see like the real them.
Oh, wow, so it was like one big family.
Yeah, it was literally like one big family.
Well, so obviously you were in this big TV show that millions of people watched. Did you personally have any fan experiences?
No, I've had no fan experiences, apart from like my mum like kind of like showing off at the hairdressers or whatever, being the dance mum as we call her, and they'd be like, oh, can we have your autograph? And I just remember like, what's an autograph? Like I didn't know how to do one, and my writing's horrible, so I just did a little scribble and went, there you go, and that's it really. And
Well, so obviously when you were filming, you were away from school for a long period of time. At that time, you were at Perton Middle School. How did people react? How did your peers view the show, you being on this big show? Were they positive comments? Were they negative? Or was it a bit of a mix?
So during Perton Middle, it was around 3 months. Filming was around 3 months, and then a bit after for like voiceovers and everything. But it wasn't like consecutive 3 months. It was like in little blocks, like of days and then weeks. People reacted, it was quite a mixed bag really. Obviously like my friends at the time, they were really happy, but some people were just like, they weren't really supportive at all, and they're like, oh, acting's gay, why would you do that, why not football or whatever at the time. And it's just a bit like, at the time obviously I got upset, and now I look back on it, I'm just like, oh, whatever. Like, you just got to ignore the people that try and put you down. Like, at the end of the day, like, I did something that I'm really proud of, that it's like a once in a lifetime experience really, in a way, and it's crazy to experience that, and I'm grateful for doing that. And then I just think of the people who said all that stuff, and I'm just like, well, you know, you've not really affected me, I've still done what I did, and I'm really proud of that. So yeah, it was a mixed bag, but I appreciate the people who was really supportive.
Oh, that's good then. So did you carry on acting after Peaky Blinders?
I carried on for quite a few years actually. I did a few adverts here and there. I did Doctors, which was filmed in Birmingham, so that was easy to get back from and to there as well, because a lot of things now are obviously in London and a lot in like Manchester, because they're all like the big hubs where all like the television centres are. So that's obviously where they hold the auditions. And then I stopped acting around GCSE time. And because I got really interested in behind the scenes, and I was like, wow, this is amazing, like especially Peaky Blinders, like everything that's together, like all the people, I'm just like, that's crazy, like the amount of people, like random little jobs I've never heard before, and I'm just like, that's amazing how all these people go into one single production, and how many times I had to take different takes and shoots and scenes, change things, and how they just like all went on about it, and they always kept on top of everything.
Well, so you're now nearly 18.
Oh God.
What are your plans? Are you thinking of doing anything in the sector? Are you thinking of going to university? Or are you trying a different path?
I did attend Birmingham Ormiston Academy, and I still currently am, towards my qualification in creative media production instead of acting, because they also do acting there, but I got really interested in obviously behind the scenes, seeing everything, so I went there. But then I've done that, and now I'm like, I want to do nursing. Like, it's all changed. I used to also want to be a teacher. When I was really young, I wanted to work at the checkouts in Sainsbury's, and I still like would love to do that actually. And I just remember, you know, always thinking that. And then now obviously I want to do nursing, and hopefully I will be able to train to be a nurse. So it's kind of the complete opposite. People have been saying, wow, that's all the stuff you've done for this, all that experience, 4 years going to Borough doing like media production, yet you're going into nursing. I'm like, I know, I think I'm like, wow. But then I'm just like, at the end of the day, I find it more satisfying for me and more fulfilling. It would make me a lot happier.
Well, so thank you very much for taking part in this interview.
You're welcome.
And good luck in your future.
Thank you very much. Thank you.